Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Seamless Content Collaboration Made Easy session here at Engage. Thank you so much for coming. Before we get rolling, though, we have to start with the legal slide. And this is just to say that this presentation may contain forward-looking information and any trademarks are not endorsements. And I'll pause here so you can read through this for a minute. All right, thank you for that. Now, I am Brian Beauche. I'm a senior product manager here at Smartsheet, and my team leads everything related to Smartsheet proofing for that content review and approval, for attachments, which is general file uploads to Smartsheet, the Adobe Creative Cloud extensions, as well as any really file integration that you have in Smartsheet. So content is where we operate within Smartsheet. Now, before we get rolling on the presentation, I just want to say that we have a chat window open with the Smartsheet team ready. So if you have any questions, please use that chat window. It's a great way to interact with our team if you have any questions that come up through the presentation. Now, in addition to leading the content collaboration team, I was also the CEO and co-founder of Slope, a startup that Smartsheet acquired in 2019, January 2019. Now, over 5 years, Slope built a software tool that made it really easy for marketing and creative teams to manage all of their content they were producing, all of their projects. Now, since joining Smartsheet and over the last almost 2 years, I've now worked with departments across an organization, teams across organizations, in lots of different industries as they produce content. And I've really found the processes, the goals, the challenges are very similar to what we saw at marketing and creative teams at Slope. There are many commonalities, whether you're a product development team putting together specs or designs, if you're a legal team putting together contracts, if you're a training team putting together videos for your employees. There's a lot of similarities in the way we produce this content as an organization, and there's a lot of best practices that we can find across an organization. So that's what we're covering today. Our learning objectives are really how do you streamline your workflows in Smartsheet and your plans on producing content? How do you collaborate seamlessly across all the content you're producing, which I'll show you how to do that with Smartsheet proofing. And then how do you collaborate with the rest of your organization through that review and approval process? Which I will also show with proofing and how you can manage that external review and approval process that every team has to go through with different stakeholders. But to start with, before we go into a demo, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about why companies and why organizations now are producing so much content and why it can be so effective for them to achieve their business goals. So as you've probably seen, content is exploding. There's more content ever than being produced, and this is true for organizations. Organizations produce more content than they ever have before in order to hit their business goals, because content is becoming the way that organizations communicate with their customers, with their employees, with vendors, with partners. It is the most effective way to communicate information on what you're doing as an organization in order to get a return on your marketing spend, train your employees, and really level up your organization and make sure that you're hitting those goals. So I'm going to go through some of these challenges and some of these goals with an example team, a training team. So just to make this a smaller example, just for the purposes of walking through this, this again applies to almost every organization, every team, every department I see that produces content. But let's say that we are a training team that is producing content to train our employees. Now we have to produce more formats than ever before in order to accomplish that goal. Maybe it used to work where it's maybe one PDF that you send around, or maybe there's a booklet manual. But now we have to produce videos and graphics and websites and even full product experiences in order to train our employees and get them to engage and really train on them. And that's true for any department that's producing content. There are more formats than ever before that we have to produce. Now, we can't just produce the same piece of content for every single person, even if it's in different formats and different channels. We have to produce it for our specific audience. So as a training team, a video I produce for a new employee that's onboarding is very different than the type of video I would produce to train a sales rep, maybe a seasoned sales rep who's been at the company for a long time. So you have to produce a lot of different types of content now across your team and department, and you have to make sure it's personalized so that it can actually be effective and engage and communicate what you'd like it to. And you're not only doing that, but now you have to collaborate across every department. You did before, but now there are so many more factors that you have to weigh in. And so for that training video that I am putting out, I need to collaborate maybe with product development to make sure everything is correct that I'm presenting to the team. I have to work with marketing to make sure it's on brand. I have to work with leadership to make sure it's what they want to be communicating. So we are producing more content than ever before. And we have more challenges than ever before that come up with it. Even over the last 10 years, the amount of challenges have come up that we've never really had to deal with before. So if I'm that training team putting together that training video or that training experience or graphic or manual, there are more complex work streams and systems. All of you, I'm sure, have had to work across many different tech tools, whether you're hacking together a process with email and spreadsheets and file sharing tools and chat applications. It's very complex to produce this content. There's constant change where you're constantly adapting to what's happening in the marketplace. You're shifting your focus and having to adapt. You're working across diverse teams, whether you're distributed, remote, across different cultures and locations and countries. There are these blurred borders between working with agencies and vendors and departments. So you have to work across a lot more stakeholders, a lot of different types of stakeholders. And there's that constant demand to go faster because the volume is so much higher. So you have to get through it quickly. So even as a training team, we are facing these. Marketing teams face this, product development teams face this. Every team and department across an organization is experiencing these similar types of challenges as they produce content across their organization. Now, some of the best practices I've seen, some of the best organizations I've seen over the last few years, even at Slope, is that leading teams start with that infrastructure and that backbone of content operations that they can streamline everything from start to finish. And they do that by combining workflows, collaboration, and content management in one. And they do this because they need to have fast output. So once you have that backbone in place, once you have that scalable process and collaboration and way to manage that content, you can move really quickly and produce content really effectively. You can also be dynamic, so you can change on the fly. If a new strategy comes up and if an event happens, you can quickly change and moderate your processing. You're not stuck in this infrastructure that might take weeks or months to change. And you're making informed content. So this is one of the most important pieces where you're able to track, you're able to report, you're able to measure and learn from what things worked best and how you can improve it. So you put that backbone in place, that infrastructure in place to streamline your operations so that you can move fast, you can change fast, and you can constantly measure and improve your process. So with that in mind, we're going to jump into a demo where we go through some of our learnings of how do we streamline this process and how do we actually hit this best practice state, this ideal state that so many teams are looking for using Smartsheet. So I'm going to hop over to a demo here. And I'm going to take a more general use case because so many different departments produce content like this, from training to product development, all of these different departments I've mentioned. So first things first, this is a sheet that's representing a shared services team. This is just one example of a way I've seen organizations produce content where you have departments across an organization requesting things from a shared services team. This could also be on your own team. This could be done by contractors. But for the purposes of this demo, this is the example. It's a shared team where you are requesting for a piece of content, which could be an image, a brochure, a document, a video, a website, whatever that creative happens to be, is being assigned and planned out ahead of time in Smartsheet. And this is a key point because many teams struggle with just having all the information in one place and that source of truth in one place of what do I have to do? When is it due? Do I have all the materials I need to actually accomplish this? And who's going to do it? Who has the time to actually take this on? So as you can see here, I've laid out a project plan where I have the name of the task and deliverable. I have what type of image it is and what type of asset, who it's assigned to, the status, the description. So I can plan and track everything through this entire process using Smartsheet. That's what Smartsheet is great at, is that workflow component where you're actually assigning work out. This is also what attachments is great for. So if I have these Instagram images, I can make sure with attachments that my designer has everything they need to actually deliver on this asset itself. They have brands, logos, copy, whatever can be included directly on this row item to make sure that everything is in place before starting. Now, once this designer is assigned something, they need to collaborate across all of their different stakeholders. So whether that's the internal team for feedback or with external stakeholders that requested it. That's where Smartsheet proofing comes in. With Smartsheet proofing, you can manage your entire review and approval process across many different types of content. So right here, you've seen that we have already created a proof. A proof is a way to upload an image, a PDF, a document, a video, even links where you can actually collaborate with your team and manage that review and approval process. So as you can see here, we have comments in here. I've already uploaded an image. What I can do here is I can actually click on a specific comment to see what was left. So one, add logo here. Okay, great. I need to add a logo there. Blur this. If I click on that comment, it will take me directly to where that comment was left on an image. And as you can see here, I have multiple images uploaded to this single proof for review. So I can come in and kind of see what comments were already done. I can add comments myself. So if I want to come in here and say, actually, let's use the box annotation, I would like the logo to go down here. This makes it really easy to collaborate with your team if you want to add in your opinion, add whatever kind of description you'd like to have directly on the asset, so it's super clear where you're actually making your comment. Now you can do this on an image and multiple images. You can do this now on Word files. So you can do this across different Microsoft Office documents, including Word docs, PowerPoint, spreadsheets, where you can upload a document if it's a vendor contract or a production agreement, and you can still take advantage of all those commenting and annotation features like you see here. Whether you want to outline a specific area of text with a box annotation or point an arrow to a specific place on the asset. I'm also excited to say that you can now do this on video content. So if you are working on a video file, you can upload directly to Smartsheet Proofing, and you can play it directly in the browser. You can pause and still use all of those annotation features, but now they link directly to the timestamp. So if I, again, want to say, put the logo here, when someone goes and tries to figure out, okay, add logo here, where do they want that? It'll take them directly to that location on the frame as well as the timestamp. And they can easily go between different areas of that video for feedback. There's an amazing new way to collaborate across video files, documents, which are new in Smartsheet, and any other content that you're producing as an organization. And now I want to add in that this is kind of a more casual collaboration process. Let's say that you needed an approval. So you needed maybe that person who submitted the request to actually go and approve it, as you see here. Well, that's where you can use our request feedback functionality. This is where you can send an invite for review and approval to any valid email address, whether that's in your organization or outside your organization, and even outside of your Smartsheet account. So you could put an internal person here to approve, but let's say that you had someone that needed to fact check this that wasn't in your Smartsheet account or wasn't in your organization. You could put their email address in here. I'll just add mine for now. They would get an email address or an email that says, hey, you need to come review and approve this proof. All they would have to do for security purposes is to validate that that email is theirs, and they would be taken to a full screen review experience where they can easily see the asset, whether they're on a mobile, tablet, or their desktop, so it works across devices, and then participate in this review and approval process to then give ultimately the approval that you want. So this is a great way to really collaborate with those internal and external stakeholders across your organization. Now, those are for assets within Smartsheet itself. We also have allowed you to utilize any attachment that you could already upload to Smartsheet in that attachments column directly into proofing. So let's say that you just wanted to manage the review and approval and track those approvals of a presentation. Maybe it's in Google Docs or Microsoft, but it's a link. It's not something that you're actually uploading. You can now do that where you can link directly to a specific asset, wherever it is, and make sure you're still managing the review and approval process here to make it easier to track and report on that approval process. Now, as you get through all of these different deliverables, this is again where Smartsheet is so powerful, where you can go back and you can track everything that you've worked on and what you've produced, report on it, and make informed decisions on how to improve it in the future. So, in closing, what we learned today is how do you streamline that review and approval process with documents, PDFs, images, and videos? How do you eliminate silos across different stakeholders and teams so you can stay aligned without the headaches? And how you can complete that exceptional content faster by really decreasing the review cycles and those roadblocks and really improving your process as you go. So if you want to learn more about proofing and how you can manage your content operations, you can go to our Learning Center, you can get training and certified, you can go to our Smartsheet community, and you can also do the Engage Brain Boost on content collaboration. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.